Coming up on the Middle Class VO podcast.
It's not just a side job. It can be a side
It's a
job
small
for some.
business.
The Fivers of the world can be a side job. But if you really want to make a go of it, it's like any other business. You got to spend some money. You got to, do the right things and get a pro demo done.
Well, if you need e-learning, we're just an email away. Corporate listen, tell us what to say. Explain the video, image and radio. Slanging local cars, reading IBRs. No, we ain't no stars. No, we're the Middle Class VO podcast. The Middle Class VO podcast.
It's the Middle Class VO podcast, yo. Bobbi Maxwell in Cincinnati. You're in Cincy, Bobby?
I am in Cincinnati. I'm not in Nashville this weekend. I'm down there a lot, but not this weekend.
It's Kevin Kilpatrick here in Nashville, though. And we are going to have us a fun podcast today. Just kind of talk about the state of VO, as it were. I didn't know it was a state. Did you, Bobby?
It's a nation. It's a universe.
It is for sure. How has your summer been going, and how are things looking as we're wrapping up summer here?
I'll tell you what, July in previous years has been so slow. As a matter of fact, I always said that if I'm going to take a lengthy vacation, I'm going to make it July because the week around the 4th has just been dead. And this year, it's totally the opposite. I am so impressed with July so far. It's probably second best month of the year in the past year.
Yeah, that's great. I've seen an uptick in some bookings, and I've seen some trends of my own on some stuff I'm doing on auditions that I'm like, okay, I'm getting some footing there, and that kind of worked, and this kind of worked, all that. And we're going to get more into that in just a little bit. But, Bobby, your spidey senses were tingling. I am bamboozling you with a mystery guest.
I knew it.
Yeah.
I knew
All right.
it.
Are you ready, Bobby? You ready for
Yes.
these clues? I'm so excited.
Okay.
Are you ready? Okay. This mystery guest is the middle child. No? I'm just going to throw these.
I got nothing.
Okay. Next clue. And see, I'll gradually ramp these up to where you should kind of maybe get them. So the next clue is, after this guest is a middle child, this guest has lived in over 10 different countries and feels that the best was Taiwan, the worst, New Zealand.
Whoa, so military brat, right?
I don't know. I'm giving you no more clues.
Got nothing again.
All right, here we go. This guest was a body piercer for 20 years, traveling and working at various tattoo shops.
Really?
Yeah!
Are you going to say male or female?
Nope!
Oh my God.
All right, here we go. Next clue. This guest holds one of the highest teaching qualifications in yoga, an accomplishment completed by only a handful of people in all of North America.
Emma O'Neill?
It is Emma O'Neill!
Whoa!
That's a great guess. Emma, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
We're doing great. Bobby, are you surprised?
I am. I just responded to her on Facebook an hour ago. Hey!
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing good. You're doing better.
Yes, I'm doing better now.
We are
Yeah.
pleased to be joined by Emma O'Neill, and Emma is a voice actor. And I did the final clue, Bobby, by the way, was this guest immigrated to Canada from Ireland at 8 years old. Would you have gotten it there too?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I thought so.
Which I never understood. You have no accent.
Give me a couple of drinks.
Excellent.
Your lilt comes through then.
Oh, yeah.
It's so great to have you on, Emma. And how are you feeling, by the way?
I'm like 85%. I won't lie, I did take a nap today.
Oh, good.
So.
And just so everybody knows, it's not the monkeypox.
No,
And
I'm
we're not going to have any HIPAA regulations come after us or anything, because Emma has been very open about this, and she got the COVID.
I did.
And you're so much better now. That's so great to hear.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, before we get into chatting with Emma much more, Bobby, guess what? I'm bamboozling you with another mystery guest.
Oh my gosh. Too much.
I love it. I love it. Emma's in on this too, by the way.
Okay. Emma doesn't know who it is either?
Oh, she does. She's in on it.
Okay. Okay.
All right. So, Bobbi, here we go as we prepare for our next mystery guest. Our next mystery guest is double jointed in both thumbs.
No clue.
Okay. Our next mystery guest spent 20 years in radio doing production and on-air duties.
Ooh. That narrows it down. I know it's not Rob Reed because he just was on. Keep going.
All right. Our next mystery guest eats the crunchy cheese snack Hawkins Cheesies almost nightly.
I don't know.
You don't know?
Is that a client?
This guest is a voice actor. This guest is a first-time guest. All right, I'm going to give you another hint. This guest first met Bobbi in 2018 at That's Voiceover in LA.
Ooh, and we're still friends? I know who it is.
Do you? Do you also know that this person's a vintage Honda lover?
It's another Canadian, isn't it?
It is.
Hey,
Chris McCloy.
Yay. Hey, buddy.
Chris, are you with us?
Hello?
There he is. Hello.
I'm technically illiterate.
No, you're not.
It says join audio. Clear as day. If you want to hear, join audio. Otherwise, sit there and look like a moron.
Especially for somebody who worked in production. Come on, dude.
Seriously.
Bobbi just heard all these great clues about you, Chris, and she's like, what the hell is Hawkins Cheesies?
They are the most deliciousness that exists on the planet. For me, anyway.
Oh, my gosh. So this is a great episode. Everybody's rolling, right?
Yeah.
All right. So good. So good. So, Bobbi, we bamboozled you with Emma, and now we've bamboozled you with Chris. Welcome to the Middle Class VO podcast, Emma and Chris. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Hi, I'm blown away. This is awesome.
So much fun.
This is so cool. And today I thought we'd just talk about the voice, the state of voiceover as it's going right now. Like, Emma, we'll start with you. Besides having the vid and getting over the vid, how's your summer been?
It's actually been pretty quiet over here, to be completely honest. Yeah. Things have been quieter than usual. I mean, I've been doing more non-broadcast stuff, like lots of e-learning. I did a huge project for a hospital here called CAMH, which they specialize in mental health. So it was a week-long in-studio kind of choose-your-own-adventure thing. Mm-hmm. So that was cool, but it was a lot of work. But in general, it's been quieter.
Well, that's okay. Bobbi, doesn't it seem to be kind of like that around here in the States, too? Like
Quieter?
Yeah, a little slower in the summer as vacations are happening and that kind of stuff.
As I just meant, not July for me. It was incredible. Emma just released her promo demo, which is incredible.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Harry Dunn did that, right?
Myself.
Harry Dunn did it, yeah.
Sounds so good.
Thank you. It was a few years in the making. So
Really?
network promo it's harder than it appears. So
Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
Well, congratulations on that. It sounds dynamite.
Thank
And
you.
Chris, what about you? How's your summer been as we are wrapping up the summer here? How's yours been?
Well, we have a running joke between Emma and I, because I'm
Yes,
over on the
we
West
do.
Coast and Emma's out East. And we always joke with each other that if Emma is really busy, then I have nothing to do. But if I'm really busy,
It's true.
then Emma has something to do. And we, at like clockwork. So she just finished saying, it's been kind of slow. Emma, how has it been for me?
Busy.
Very.
Unbelievably busy.
That's so funny.
And sometimes he's
Unbelievably
mean
busy.
about it. Like, he'll call when he's not busy to see if I can flip the switch by having a conversation with me. I'm like, rude, Chris. I have a busy track right now. Get off the phone.
Well, I need to get some money in the bank, right?
Yeah.
So if I can do that in any way possible, even if it's karmatically speaking, I'll steal a little bit from Emma over on the East Coast. Why not?
Do you guys have the same agents?
No. Well, we're both a shepherd.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, good. We're all with Shepherd.
Oh,
Yay.
Hey. Shout out to
Why are we
Eric.
booking Eric?
Good question.
What did you say,
Just
Bobby?
kidding. I said, why aren't we booking Eric?
Shout out to Eric. Eric is awesome.
Yeah, we saw Eric's post a couple of weeks ago whenever he was calling we talents idiots, basically.
Oh my
And
God, that was funny.
Yeah, it was caused quite the uproar because not everybody can handle that, and I understand everybody's perspective on that and stuff. But I like the agents having our backs and calling us out, when we need it.
Yeah.
It's refreshing.
Yeah.
He's refreshing. He's
I
like a bucket of
appreciate
water on
him.
the head refreshing.
Sometimes we need a cold cup of coffee.
It's true.
So what are you working on, Chris? What have you been so busy with?
I'm doing a whole rebrand. I've been throwing some money back into the business. Like, where you feel like you're like, I need to make money. I need to, book, and I need to do all of that for so long. And I hadn't really taken any money off the table and put it back into things. So I got Joe and them over at voiceover or voice actor websites working on stuff for me to redo my website. And Romanowski is putting some work in on a new demo for me. And I got a
Cool.
logo.
Nice.
I got a logo designed and yeah, I'm putting some money back in and then like I said, busy with July. On a bunch of different things. Some things I got myself, and some things I got through agents, and some things are NDAs, so I can't say anything. But yeah, that's that and camping with my kids.
I was just going to
My family.
say, didn't you just get a new camper and you're taking the fam out everywhere?
I did. I bought an old tent trailer,
Nice.
a little pop-up trailer. Now, I used to have a bowler. Do you know what a bowler is?
I don't.
A bowler or a
No.
trillium? You ever heard of any of those?
No.
No? They're these fiberglass things from the 70s. And they look like an egg, is what it is. It's a really light camper that somebody would say, it says in the directions that you can sleep 4.
You can.
You can sleep 4.
In a pinch.
If you try to sleep 4, it's an entirely different animal. And I ended up ruining my back. My wife didn't want to speak to me for a few days.
No.
My son fell off the top, I'm using air quotes here, top bunk, and almost clocked his head 3 times on the way down, just missing the corner of the cabinet. And after that, we said, yeah, maybe that's not for us. So
So the camper's for sale.
So the camper, I sold the camper last year. We were like,
you
that was a big fail. And let's try something different. So we tried the tent trailer, and you can stretch out. It's got room. The kids have their own space. We've only taken it out once. We're taking it out again next week, which is going to be super fun. And
Nice.
and yeah, so that's my my zen is to get out on the lake or get out into the woods and just sort of do something that has nothing to do with anything else other than just creating some memories with family.
Nice.
It's on my bucket list to go to both of your cities and just, I'm inviting myself to stay, by the way.
Come on down. Absolutely.
Anytime.
No, serious. I want to just go to Canada and just see nature. That sounds so nice.
I think Cincinnati has nature, no?
Haha.
You do exist.
Really?
You exist on planet Earth, right?
They don't have the Rockies,
True. Yeah.
Georgian Bay, the freezing waters of Georgian Bay. Georgian Bay is very pretty, actually. The water is freezing, but it's very pretty country.
My husband
Excellent.
stayed in Saskatchewan for business
Oh,
one year
my.
for a month. And
Wow.
he said he has never been so cold in his life. This was in
Yes.
January. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you want to
Flat
sound more
prairie.
Canadian, don't say Saskatchewan.
Oh, sorry.
Saskatchewan.
It's Saskatchewan.
We run through everything.
Yeah.
Saskatchewan, Toronto,
It's not
we don't like
Toronto.
to use
Even
all
though the movie
words.
says it's the man from Toronto.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I got schooled on
not.
that a couple years ago. Beth
Toronto.
Manning said, there's no second T.
I was going to bring that up because I was in a session the other day, and it was with a Toronto studio, and I said, I can't remember what the word, but there was a T towards the end, And I did it, the American way where I just kind of went over it. They go, oh, no, please hit that T at the end. I can't remember what it wasn't Toronto, but it was something. She goes, it's a Canadian thing. I'm like, okay, yeah, no worries. I want to know these. And I was going to ask you guys, you guys both do U.S.-based stuff. I'm sure, Emma, we'll start with you. What have you noticed difference-wise between Canadian work and U.S. work?
Work or pronunciations? Well, with pronunciations, there's a ton of pronunciation differences between, general Canadian and general American accents. And it's something that at this point, I think I've just trained myself to speak with more of an American accent. So regardless of what country I'm working in, I just use Americanisms versus Canadianisms unless I'm asked to do so. So like process. In Canada, it's process. It's produce. It's not produce. It's houses versus houses. Canadian is resource versus resource. Stuff like that. So there's a lot of difference in pronunciations. And then there's also a big difference in delivery, especially like with commercial work, for example. Chris, correct me if I'm wrong, but the way I am working, American commercial work is way more conversational. It's much, much less rise and fall, up and down, whereas Canadian is still TV commercials almost air to the side of promo.
Really?
That is true. That sounds pretty close. It's changing. I think it's just a little slower. It's just a little bit more behind on that sort of curve of conversational style.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. And that would make more sense why I book stuff in Canada.
Yeah, there you go.
Because I got more of a promo sound probably.
Right.
Huh.
Wow.
So Emma, give us just a little hint of your accent from Ireland.
Oh, sure, Jesus, you wouldn't want to be listening to that now, would you?
Wow. I love it.
It's not Irish enough for the American market.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Do you audition for Irish?
I do when I get told that I'm not Irish enough.
Oh.
Wow.
So you have to sound like a Lucky Charm.
Magically delicious.
Yes, no accent in Ireland has ever sounded like that ever in the history of the world of Irish accents, but that's what is required for Irish accents. Yeah.
I hired Nick Redman, is it?
Mm-hmm.
To do, it was a casino and they were doing something for, obviously, St. Patrick's Day. And I hired her and she was sounded extremely Irish, but I'm going to go to you next time.
Thanks.
Because it's a casino in America.
Oh, I just found the word, by the way, guys. I think it was in Emma and Chris tell me, but I said the line was, please enlighten us. And I said, please enlighten us. And I think they said, Kevin, could you please hit that T and enlighten us? Does that sound right?
Really? I would never say that T.
I'm thinking there was a person there who said, I didn't hear the T. And
Yes,
they just wanted you to
there was.
articulate it. It doesn't sound Canadian to me. Because please, honestly, enlighten us.
That's about right.
Yeah, right?
And we're going to get Chris and Emma to do are you guys comfortable with telling a nightmare session story, a session that could not have gone much worse?
Sure.
Sure. Yeah.
All right, good. We'll do that coming up in just a little bit. So it's a mystery guest episode of the Middle Class VO podcast. Emma, what are your plans for fall? You plan on doing any heavy marketing? You plan on training? What are your thoughts going forward as we head into a new season?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I have a coaching session set up with Tina Morosco for September. I'm attending VO North, the voice conference in Toronto in September. Which I'm really looking forward to because, you get to see people in person and stuff.
Yeah.
And my main focus right now is promo. So, I've been coaching in promo for 3 years. I've just released the demo, but I'm still continuing to kind of put my main focus on promo when it comes to coaching and training. So I'm doing one of the breakout sessions at VO North in promo and trailer, continuing to coach with Harry Dunn with that. And yeah, just kind of beefing up marketing for sure. More video marketing.
Aren't you both nominated for One Voice Awards?
Yes.
Yes.
Excellent.
See, they would never say that themselves. That's why I wanted to bring it up. Well, good luck next weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very cool.
Chris, what about you? Same question for you.
Well, I put a lot of work in already, so it's probably just going to be laying out the website, getting marketing in that respect, because I'm going to have all of these little toys, and I want to thrust them into everybody's faces that I possibly
Excellent.
can. So, I think it'll be a lot of self-marketing, self-promotion for this fall, and see what kind of return I get on the stuff that I'm spending all of my money on right now. And then, I mean, coaching is a thing that you have to pop in and do once in a while. You can't not do that. It always has to be a little bit of a part of everything that you do, I think. So that'll be in there somewhere. I don't know with whom or how. I'm just occasionally, sometimes I just do sort of little refresher things and pick somebody out of a hat and go, all right, maybe I want to work with this person and try this. And because I'm always of the idea that we should always be learning. And everybody comes with their own little, I don't know, bag of tricks. Some of them work, some of them don't. But I figure why not throw spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks. So
Excellent. Bobbi, do you have any questions for them on any hot button issues?
Yeah, I'm curious because obviously here in the States, political season is upon us, and it's going to be crazy up till November 4th or whatever the date is this year. So is political big in Canada?
I don't do a lot of not a lot of Canadian political stuff. I don't. Chris, do you?
I've done a few, but what I'm running into usually, it depends on how partisan it is. Because much like anybody else who's putting their face out in the world, if it's a Republican or a Democrat or something, I'm getting asked where I am and where I'm from. And I've a couple of jobs that have sort of slipped away on me is because I'm not in the States, because they don't want the metrics of that getting out. They're like, well, imagine you're a Republican and you're running for Senate and you're touting, keeping money and jobs and everything, and then all of a sudden you hire a Canadian guy to voice your commercial. It might look bad. So they tend to be, for me anyway, I've done a few, but I don't tend to be the voice of. I tend to be sort of, if they need the husband in a husband and wife narrative on a radio spot, hey honey, what are we doing? How are we going to get through all of this? We don't have enough money for this. And then so-and-so comes in with the announcer will come in, obviously, with their
Joe Biden's wrong for America.
exactly,
yeah,
those kind of spots. So I tend to sort of fill in. I can fill in those without raising any red flags, but I usually get passed up just because I am Canadian, and I can understand that. I totally get that from a political point of view.
I've done a few American political spots, and it's usually the snarky one. I don't know how I keep getting that.
Emma, you would have me fooled. You sound American, from the United States.
But I think that's also because coming from Ireland at the age of 8, kids are mean. Like, kids are just mean. It's the way that they're programmed. Like, if they could kill you faster than they could blink at you, they would. Like Lord of the Flies is a real thing. And so I had a really thick Dublin accent, and I used Irish words. Like, I said biscuit instead of cookie, and bin instead of garbage, and jumper instead of sweater, and all this stuff. I lost my accent in 2 weeks.
Wow.
2 of them. And then when I went to acting school in university, I studied SNAN, Speaking North American Naturally, with a guy named David Smuckler, and he was a linguist and a phonetics specialist. So he taught us all how to recognize Canadianisms. I also, with learning, being a kid in Canada, when I learned how to speak Canadian, when we all came home saying A, my mother responded with B. So none of us say A.
Wow.
None of us. So I have 2 sisters, so the 3 sisters do not say A ever at the end of a sentence. But yeah, so I think it was that because of how I learned how to speak as a child with an Irish accent and then moved to Canada and then studied linguistics and phonetics, I created this kind of broad accent that you can't place.
Well, it's working.
Good.
Yeah, definitely. and I don't hear Chris on more VO work, but I hear you I hear the Canadian conversation definitely, but not your VO work.
Me?
You.
Oh,
you.
yeah. Well, I've made a science out of killing the Canadian, I think, in VO. But,
That was a series on Netflix, wasn't Killing the Canadian?
yeah, it was. Not a lot of people
One of
watched
my
it, though.
crime stories I just did. Yeah.
I think it's there was when I first heard about voiceover was when I was working. It was like I was just out of broadcast school, and it was an imaging guy who was at the station that I was at, and you might know him. His name's David Kay.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
So David Kay, we used to call him Ferrari Dave because he lived in Vancouver and he cruised around in a Magnum PI style Ferrari.
Sweet mustache, too?
Oh, no, he didn't have the sweet mustache, but he used to pull up. He had a red Ferrari. He pulled right up in front of the studio, and he came in, unassuming guy, and he came in these sort of big pipes came out of him, because you talk to him and he's like, "Hi, how are you?" And then he gets behind and then all of a sudden it's just like big voice comes out of this little, relatively slighter kind of guy, and you're sort of blown away by it. And I remember him always saying dollars, not dollars. And I asked him why you did that. And he goes, because you don't book any work in the States if you say dollars. And I go, really? And he goes, yeah, it's $100.
Fox News. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
And I'm like, really? And he goes, yeah. He goes, whatever you do, don't say the Canadian way of saying dollars, because that's not how they say it down in the States. And at the time, he was voicing radio stations, but he was also voicing a lot of like the furniture places, so everything is $99.99, $55.55. Like it was numbers. If you remember the spots from way back in the 90s, that's what it was. How many dollars? It's $100 off. It's $100, it's $50 off. So that was my first instance of knowing that you got to kill the Canadian if you want to work outside of Canada.
Wow.
That is fascinating. I had to hire a voice talent for a car spot running in Atlanta, Georgia area, and it was for a dealership. And I got the spot back, and I know this guy from way back. Do you guys by chance know T-Bone? Brent Blazico, I think.
No.
Okay, he's got his studio is called Sound Lounge, and it's his website, soundlounge.ca. But anyway, he sent me the spot back, and it's like, here at 5-Star Mazda. And I'm like, no. So anyway, I had to get that redone, and that was the first time I learned that, in a lot of your country, you say Mazda instead of Mazda.
Versus Mazda. Yep. Sound Lounge is in Toronto. I know that studio. I've recorded there.
Okay, yeah. And Brent is a great guy. Goes by the nickname T-Bone, but he's been around forever.
Right.
Got a great sound. We're going to get a nightmare session story coming up in just a second. But before, I teased Emma when she came on with all these great clues. Emma, you did the body piercing and the yoga and stuff for 20 years. When did you get into VO?
I started doing VO in 2011. I've been an actor my entire life, but I got into voiceover in 2011.
Wow.
Excellent. And you don't do any more tattooing, body piercing, or you didn't do any tattoo stuff. You did body piercing and yoga.
Yes. I didn't do any tattooing. I just got tattooed.
Yes.
And with piercing, I'll do it every once in a while. When I was traveling to India on a yearly basis, I was known as the body piercer in the yoga community. So when I would arrive, I would have appointments booked from the day I arrived to pierce people.
Wow. You make jewelry too, don't you?
I do. Yeah.
Very cool. I love
That's
that.
crazy stuff. And Chris, you did a 20-year stint in radio.
I
When
did.
did you get into VO full time?
It was sort of a natural kind of thing. I was working on the other side of the glass as a producer for a long time, and not to poo-poo on radio people or anything like that, but there is sort of a thing. There's a stigma in voiceover where if people sound radio, they don't quite. There's a thing there, right?
Yeah.
So what would happen is that I was producing spots, and I always had this idea in my head that the radio spots could be as good, if not better, than TV spots that we hear. They should be better. You shouldn't just mail them in. So I always wanted people to do more. I wanted the radio guy to be like, if I needed you to act, I really wanted you to act. I wanted you to be the character. And unfortunately, it was like, could you be, a dad? And he's like, absolutely. I'd love to be the dad. And you're
Exactly.
like, okay, can you tone down? Can you just do a little less of that and just talk to me like you're talking to me? Absolutely. This is how I talk to you. And you're like, okay.
This is me toned down as dad.
Right, exactly. So what happened was that I kept running into an ego wall against people that I worked with, and I had to throw myself in the studio and go, this is what so I sort of self-taught a lot of those kind of character things and not being radio. So I started to do some stuff on the side. I was working at the radio station. Somebody asked me to do a spot locally on a TV spot, and then I found Voice 123, 15 years ago, I think. Got more work through that, and it just sort of became a natural progression of more work came from VO, was still doing the radio, and then they started to butt into each other where I couldn't do the book session because I had the 9-to-5 job. So I just needed to let it go.
So you took that leap. Mm-hmm. It's interesting. We Kevin and I both come from radio, and radio continues, especially here in the United States, to just shrink and shrink and shrink. There are fewer and fewer jobs. And I don't know about you, Kev, but I get at least several times a month radio folks that I know saying, so I see you're doing well in VO. Can you talk to me about that? And it's just becoming more and more. I feel bad for people who are still in radio because it can't be very positive,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I still get it, Bobby, 2 in the last month. And I've got this 2-page sheet thing put together that I just say, hey, it's hard, but anybody can do it. And then I send them my 2-page sheet that talks about training and investing in yourself and setting up proper studio. And, and I equate it to getting a degree in a way because with the time invested and the money invested, because the average person needs to go through all that. Unless you're just a wunderkind and can come out of the gates with acting chops like Meryl Streep, you're going to have to train. So a lot of times that will scare people off. And I'm not trying to scare people off, but I'm trying to give them a realistic picture of what it's like. But yeah, it's radio people.
Yep. And if you're listening and you're coming from the radio world, answer your email multiple times a day.
Yes,
for sure.
When people get back, if they'll ask for your opinion and they don't respond after you've emailed them for 4 days or a week, it's like, that's not going to be able to work for you if you're getting into VO. Yeah.
Yeah. Your phone has to be surgically attached to your hand.
Yep.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Or go on vacation and you'll get busy.
Absolutely.
So
That's
true.
it. 100%. Well, Emma, we're going to start with you and would love to get a nightmare session story. Bobby and I have shared many nightmare sessions that we've gone through, and it's just a way for us to connect with each other and share what's happened and know that we're all in this together. So, Emma, without further ado, would you please favor us with a nightmare session story?
Nightmare Sessions.
Sure, I would love to. This was one of my very first sessions when I first signed with one of my Canadian agents. So I was, wet behind the ears. I was a total yes person, didn't ask questions, just said yes. And it was a studio session, so I was very excited. And I think the session was entitled Esther Jones or something. So off I go into the studio, and I'm greeted at the front door, and they bring me into the office instead of into the vocal booth. And I'm like, this is weird.
Oh, no!
So they're like, yeah, just take a seat. We just want to, go over a couple of things. I'm like, okay. And I could see the script on the table, but the script was face down. And he just slid it across the desk. And he's like, you know who you're voicing for today, right? I was like, yeah, Esther Jones. He was like, yeah, no, you're not. So we just need you to know who it is that you're voicing for before you go into the studio. Now, again, I'm a yes person. I'm not going to, because I don't even know that I'm allowed to say no.
Yeah, you don't make waves.
So I was afraid, right? So I flipped the script over, and it was 27 spots, tags, with the main body of the script for Ashley Madison.
Oh,
And if you know who Ashley Madison is, you don't.
Yeah.
They basically encourage you to have an affair because, you only live once. That's, I think, one of the tags.
is that their tagline?
I think, yeah, you only live once, or life, life can be exciting, or like
What
there's
is
all,
it, Chris? You know.
Hey, come on. Let's keep the gloves up. Come on.
Why do you think you bought that new camper?
Oh, hi-yo. The shaggin' wagon.
Now,
Hey.
oh my.
This van is rocking. Don't come in.
If this pop-up tent is...
Oh, see, we just went to a bad place there, didn't we?
We
Right?
did, and I didn't even mean to.
Oh my
Kevin pitched a tent.
Hi-yo.
God. Dear Lord. Oh my God.
Anyway,
Bring
sorry,
it back,
Emma.
kids. Bring it back. Bring it back. Bring it
Kevin,
back.
I think we're going to send this episode for our Sovas nominee.
Yeah.
Yes. Definitely. Yeah, so I was like, yeah,
So
sure,
Ashley
yeah.
Madison, oh my gosh.
Ashley Madison, and off into the booth I go and recording this, and then they keep adding more tags and adding more tags and adding more tags. Actually, can you, for Las Vegas, for, Cincinnati, for whatever. Then they were adding like the 50 states and all of the cities within the states. And then at the end of everything, they tried to only pay me for 8 tags.
No.
I was like, so not only are you encouraging people to have an affair and, commit a crime of the flesh, then now you're trying to rip me off.
What a
Cute.
shock to turn that script over. It's like,
So how did this resolve, Emma?
It was actually a really good learn for me because it was the first time that up until that point, if someone didn't pay me properly or said, oh, well, no, we're actually going to reduce the rate, I'm like, oh, okay. This was the first time I pushed back. I was like, absolutely not. Because I kept the scripts and I recorded this on my phone. So I had just put my voice memo on in the studio. For whatever reason,
Smart.
Spidey senses had told me to put it on, and I'd recorded the entire session. And I was like, so I have the entire session recorded. I have the script with all of the notes. I recorded 56 tags.
Oh my
plus
gosh.
3 spots. You will pay me for 56 tags and 3 spots. Thanks. And I pushed back and I wouldn't let go. I was like a dog with a bone. I was like, nope. And eventually they paid.
oh, good.
Good for you. And clearly this was not an agent-booked gig.
Unfortunately, it was.
Oh, and you didn't have help from the agent? Or?
It was more a copy-paste situation. So, but that's, it's not fun, but at the same time, I've learned, over the years, I've learned a ton about negotiating contracts and how to get your money and how to get paid and how to deal with people, mainly because I had to. So, but that was the first one where I refused to lie down. I was like, no. Lie down
Wow,
for Ashley
that's a
Madison.
great story.
Skibidi-ba-ba-ba.
Chris, that's going to be hard to top, but we've all had those sessions where they maybe couldn't have gone much worse. Would you please favor us with your nightmare session story?
Well, mine was an exercise in patience. It wasn't about money. It was more about getting everything right. But I was working with the production studio was in South America. The agency was in Europe, and the client was in the Mediterranean.
Wow.
So
You're in Canada.
Yeah, and I was in Canada. So we're doing the session, and it was difficult. I think it was just a communication breakdown ended up being a lot of it. So the script was relatively simple. It was like I think it was a 60 or maybe a 90 second spot. Didn't have a whole lot to it, but they booked me based on one style of read, and that's usually my starting point. So it was a conversational. It wasn't anything forced, but you could tell that it was the half of their conversation is happening in Spanish, which I can't hear, I can't understand. And then there was one person in the room that spoke English, and he was trying to relay what they were saying. And the first take went, and then the second take went, and I can give it to you again. Can you do more of this? Can you try this? And they really wanted full reads. So on a 90-second script. They wanted full reads. They really wanted to get a lot of those in. They wanted to hear how it sounded with that full sort of energy all the way through. And about take 57, I started to get really, really annoyed. No, I was really well deep into being annoyed at that point.
Wow. And exhausted, I'm sure.
Yeah, because the energy kept going up. They took it from a conversational read to a full-on expressive sweating. You know, I mean, it's like I'm overdoing anything. The volume has gone up, and we finally got it. But what really ticked me off in the end is I ended up doing 61 takes of the full read.
Wow.
And it was 2 hours. I don't know how long it was.
Grief.
I was sweating at the end of it. And I always like to hear stuff at the end. I always like to know what they ended up doing with it. I'll give you a guess as to which take they ended up using.
Second or third.
Yep.
Exactly.
Wow.
So that was fun. I enjoyed it. Yeah. So anyway, that's but you know what? I took it. I didn't get angry with anybody. It was all sort of that, duck on a pond, contain the anger, don't get mad at anybody. They're working through it. There's a communication problem. And it worked out in the end. They paid me, but that was a tough session. That was a tough one to get through.
More chefs in the kitchen.
That. Chris, what is the lesson from that though?
I think you have to go, you got to be professional in this game. You can't take, you can tell them and help them along. And maybe I should have tried to offer my 2 cents, but it's hard when you don't understand what they're saying. So I don't know what the debate was happening in Spanish and then how it got to me. But usually in a session, sometimes I can hear somebody or the client will go, can he hear it like this or this way? And you could tell the producer wants to get involved and sort of rein the client in because the client will be like, just have them do it this and this and this. And it's a little less focused. And I think just being patient, being professional, and not letting your emotion get the best of you and still maintaining that because you never know what it's going to turn into. So don't burn this bridge because it could be a really, really valuable bridge down the road. Maybe not right now in this session, but the next email that comes from them could be that big thing. And I never want to be that problem client or that problem voice person. They're not going to hire them because that guy's difficult to work with.
That's what I find also. It's like we control what we can control. And, one of those is being professional and, being on time and, having everything ready and being prepared and all that stuff. And then the rest is up to fate. But I think that I agree with you, Chris, 100%. You just got to be a pro kind of no matter what. And Emma's lesson is a hugely valuable lesson. Stand your ground.
Yeah.
It's somebody who's clearly trying to take advantage of Emma there.
Yeah. And did you get any script up front? At all?
I did, but it wasn't. It was just a random script. Like it was more like sultry read kind of thing. But it had nothing to do with
client on it. Yeah.
No.
Crazy.
Good stuff. Well, guys, this has been a blast.
Thank you.
Thank you for
there was
being
going to be silence.
Is that what a blast feels like? That's the dead silence blast comes back the other way.
I was kind of hoping you guys had fun too, but maybe it's just me. I won't be looking for a callback on the second date.
I'm surprised it's over already.
I know.
Oh, well,
gone
it
so
doesn't have to
fast.
be. I mean,
It's gone quickly.
But
No,
you-
it's
you
good.
surprised-
Can we make a weekly thing?
You surprised us with it. It's just like, it's like, well, it all of a sudden came out of Kevin where you're just like, well, this has been great. Time to go. And you're like, oh, is that it? I didn't realize. That's great.
Bobbi usually has more questions, but she was not able to prepare for this. Bobbi, we were trying to do this a week ago.
Oh, when
Yeah.
I was in Nashville, right?
And you had Emma had the vid, so
Oh, yeah.
kind of worked out that way.
We were patient.
I
Right?
was spending more time sleeping than doing anything else.
Your voice sounds great now.
Thank God. I lost it on the Friday, and I had a session with Netflix.
Oh,
So-
no.
And then thank God, legal got involved, and they had to tweak one of the lines. They're like, yeah, let's just do it on Monday. I'm like, thanks. Like, I had one of those, like, new world. Like, I was like, if you need anyone for trailer right now, I am your girl. Like, I
Right.
can do it, because I was down here. I was like, I'm not going to be able to sell anything conversational or peppy.
Wait, I've got another question for Chris.
Yeah.
Chris, what advice would you give somebody from radio trying to get into VO right now?
A penny for your thoughts.
Forget everything you think you know about voiceover. Think it's everything that you've learned in radio. Just, you know what? No, let me change that. Mic placement is the only thing you should take away
Oh, okay.
from radio. The rest of it, throw it out the door. Get some coaching.
Wow.
Do something totally different. Forget that you think you know how this actually works, because you don't. It's so different.
It really is. And it's hard to ingrain that. It's like, oh, come on. It's like I've been doing commercials and in the production room for years, and it's nothing like that. And I think it's a shock about the money that really is needed to be put up to get started.
Yeah, it scares people.
Well, we've seen all the posts. There's so many people like there's so many people that are putting out that information for us, and they're saying it's not just a side job. It can be a side job
small
for some.
business.
The Fivers of the world can be a side job, but if you really want to make a go of it, it's like any other business. You got to spend some money. You got to do the right things and get a pro demo done. It's I mean I feel like a broken record having to even repeat it sometimes. Because it's all this info is out there, and it's just like you can do it, but just don't ignore it. Don't think you can do it without having some level of training, having some professional demo,
Or you could
doing it without a
blacklist
website
yourself,
or
yeah.
something. Yeah, I think those are there. People keep saying that same thing, and because that's how it works.
It really
And Emma,
does.
what about those coming from the yoga and body piercing industry?
But they do. I've had many a conversation with yoga teachers that are, especially during the pandemic. It's like, my students always tell me my voice is really, really soothing. I think I'd be great for meditation apps and stuff like that. And, I mean, it would be really easy. It's like, and that's where I get my backup. I'm like, it's really easy, is it? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Off you go. Have a good time. And so, like Kevin, I have a 2-page kind of, links, etc. of go and check out this and read this blog and look at this information. And once you get through this, then step 2, then you got to do this and find some workout groups. And here's a bunch of coaches that work with beginners, and this is what you need to do. And they're like, at the end of it, they'll come back. They're like, but it's just speaking. Like it's really not just speaking. And if it was, everyone could do it. You're right. Mm-hmm. So
true.
Bunch of clowns.
Yeah. So it's, but in fairness, like the people who do go, like I had a guy a few months ago. It was actually a jewelry client. Her son wanted to get into voiceover. And she's like, he's been doing voices his entire life. Like he's got so many characters, like really, really well fleshed out characters. I was like, okay, yeah, sure. Send him my way. And so I sent him this list. And God love him. It took him a week to go through the entire list. He called me on day 7. He had already booked a coaching session with Ellie Ray. He had bought himself a microphone. He had soundproofed his closet. He had done all of this stuff. He was like, I'm doing this. His first animation audition with Ellie Ray, 3 coaching sessions later, he booked the main character.
Wow. Very impressive.
That's
Yeah.
impressive.
Yeah.
And
So
that just
there are
makes
those
you feel
people.
great, I bet.
Totally, because it was just like, like obviously it's got nothing to do with me and in the grander scheme of things, but it was like, here's the information, don't turn anybody away. Maybe someone will actually pay attention. And he was like, this is what I want to do. This is a dream. And I finally, like, this was a gift that you're making jewelry for my mom. And she found out that you're a voice actor, and now you've pointed me in the right direction, connected me with a coach that I resonate with, who provided me with an audition opportunity for an animation series in Canada, and he booked the main character. So
cool.
It's great.
That's remarkable. Yeah, that's the stuff that gives you the feels right there.
Absolutely.
Well, good luck to you guys next week. And are you going to Dallas?
I'm going.
I am not.
Chris, do you go to conferences, workshops, any of that often?
I not as much as I would like to. I would really like to go more, but it's actually more of a logistics thing because the conferences are all out east. And,
Yeah, they really are.
I mean, for anybody who, how the exchanges goes. I mean, if you're always having to go through Denver to get to anything or, having those sort of flight delays, anything is a day in travel from where I am. So if I got on a plane, it's a good 16 hours to travel. Like, I mean, unless I'm going to Los Angeles, but it just takes a long time to get anywhere. So what seems like it's only going to be a 2-day conference is 4 days plus maybe a day to recover, because you got to travel one day, do the conference, travel the other day. So it makes it difficult for me, but I would love to. I really wanted to go to Atlanta. And I wanted to go to One Voice, because I didn't get a chance to last year, of course. I mean, with COVID stuff was still sort of kind of weird here, getting across the border in Canada. And wanted to go this year, but it just ended up not working out that way, So I haven't been as much as I would like.
Okay. Well, hopefully we'll see you at one of these soon.
What's the next one? I'm not making it out to VO North, but maybe Voice Arts, Sovas.
Yeah, that might be
that's
it.
in December.
Is that in LA this year?
Yeah,
it is.
I believe so. Yeah.
And they thankfully listened to the masses and put that's voiceover with Sovas. Again, instead of separating them. They were separated by a month before, whereas now it's December 15th, I think, through is the conference and then the awards.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Yeah.
Do you do gaming, Chris?
Do you
do gaming?
I do, but
You do.
again, it's I got NDAs on it, so I can't really say specifics, but I'm really good at being killed.
You're a good dyer.
It's a skill.
I'm a good henchman. I'm a good soldier. I have that's something that I've done well with, is have an ability to, get shot in the head, fall against the wall, slowly go down, and then fall 28 feet,
Nice.
and then hit a concrete
Nice.
floor, because that's what happens.
In video game.
Yeah,
It's true.
So
The only reason I brought it because Get Your Game On is in LA.
oh
in
right,
November
yeah,
with
yeah.
Randall Ryan. Randall Ryan is amazing.
Randall's
good people.
I love him. Yeah. he's
Randall
such
is a
great
big
guy.
fan of the podcast, too, so he's probably listening right now. Would you guys all
Hey,
like to say
Randy.
something to Randall?
He's such a lovely human. Hello.
Hello.
Hopefully I will see you in
Hello.
Dallas. I think he's going to be in Dallas. Yes, I believe so. I think it was
Yeah, I
just
think you're right.
announced that he's going to be there. So I'll see you there, Randy.
Very cool. Very cool.
Digital high five from me.
Well, guys, this has been great. It's been a blast.
Thank you.
So
Yay.
fun. Such
So
a
much
great
fun.
surprise.
Oh, thanks so much for joining us on the Middle Class VO podcast. Emma O'Neill and Chris McCloy, best of luck to you guys moving forward. And Emma, how can folks reach you if they would like to talk to you about doing some more Ashley Madison spots?
You can find me on the interwebs at EmmaO'NeillVO.com. That's O'Neill like the surf company with 2 L's.
Very cool. Chris, what about yourself?
I have the real tough spelling of chrismccloy.com, and 2 C's, an L, an O, and a Y.
Very
Good luck, you guys, with all these things coming up this fall.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bobby.
Oh, well, the Middle Class VO podcast. Middle Class